Okay, welcome. It takes people a while to roll in, so I'm waiting for Julie and the rest of the filmmaker squad. But good to have you here. Usually, hey, what's up, Jason? Um, uh, and Landy's here. It's great. Welcome, you guys. It takes a little while sometimes for us to get going. Um, and but it's great to have you guys here. We're really excited about today. I'll set the room when Julie arrives and a few other the NFT Film Squad crew get here. But welcome, you guys. It should be really fun. I will say that if you're new, uh, we if you're new here, we do meet every Wednesday. We have for 11 months from 1 to 3 Eastern time. And yeah, we've been pioneering the film space, the NFTs film space, being a bridge. Really welcome. It takes us a little bit to get going, but we're super psyched that you're here. And as soon as Julie gets here, we'll get started. So,
How you doing, everyone?
hey, Landy, what's up?
Yeah, all good. I was wondering how you're getting on, Jordan. How's it going with all the prep and how are things?
And thank you.
Is that too big a question?
I will say,
It's so exciting.
yeah. Um, give me 1 second, guys. I need to go grab Julie. She just sent me a message, and I will answer that in just a second. But hey, there? Julie's here. That's awesome. So to um, to answer your question, then, Landy, uh, is good. Is good. I just gave a kick-ass interview, so I'm pretty psyched about that. And for those of you who don't know, I'm dropping my NFT motion picture in 2 weeks, so that's what Landy's asking about. But today, I'm super psyched. We have Julie Pacino here and her incredible project that a lot of people are excited about. And as soon as a few more people roll in, we'll get started. But Julie, welcome to the NFT Filmmaker Squad.
What's up, GM, everybody? Thanks for having me. How's it going? How's your morning, Jordan?
My morning's good, even though I don't think I've slept already in like a week or 2 weeks, and I feel like I've got like 2 more weeks to try to strike balance. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to talk to you. I'm always happy on Wednesdays because I get to see the squad and we get to talk together. And we've been doing this. I don't know if you know this, but we've been doing this for 11 months, every Wednesday, and we've learned a lot, and it's been really cool. So for us, it's super cool to have you come in because of the way that you are dropping your we've we've spotlighted had sort of a different path, and so it's going to be really a lot of fun, I think, for everybody to talk to you about yours. Give me a second, and let me just set the room. Since we have a few people in here, the NFT Filmmaker Squad, as I just said, every Wednesday from 1 to 3. We also have a Discord. You can find that. Um, we uh, we have spotlighted so many super cool filmmakers over the past year, and seen the growth in this particular part of the ecosystem. And we're here, to onboard and to be a bridge to filmmakers to NFTs. And I think that's community. Definitely join our Discord. And but let's jump in. And get Julie to introduce herself and her project. And then if you want to come up on stage, please do, because we really love building community. That's what we're all about. And we also really love getting you guys involved in the conversation.
Cool. Yeah. Let me pin this tweet so that way while I'm talking about the project, y'all can see what's up. Okay.
Nice.
Okay, cool. So, hi everyone. Jordan, thank you so much for having me on this space. My name is Julie Pacino. I am a photographer, filmmaker, and NFT artist and collector. My most recent drop is called Keepers of the Inn, so you can check out the pin tweet. It's a series of 3,356 photos that I took during the rehearsal process for my upcoming feature, which is called I Live Here Now, which is also based off of my first Genesis NFT drop, which was 100 photos that I shot at the Madonna Inn Hotel, which if anyone is unfamiliar with the Madonna Inn, just like punch that into Google and check it out. It's an incredible, inspiring space. So Keepers of the Inn is a drop that's going to go towards the funding of my film that we'll shoot this year. We're also going to take a portion of the proceeds and use it to directly onboard other female filmmakers into the space. So once we sell out, it's going to unlock a few different grants that will go towards financing short form projects for other women who will submit their work and be voted on by the Keepers of the Inn community. And then ultimately we'll take all of those short films and curate them as part of a Keepers of the Inn drop. Will showcase everyone's work alongside my finished feature. We're also going to take a portion of the proceeds and just put it directly back into the space and purchase art from other women and, you know, LGBTQIA community that's obviously underrepresented in the space, and we want to do something to change that. So that's of an overview snapshot. I don't want to go on too much of a tangent, Jordan. I don't know how conversational you like to keep this, but that's a broad stroke scope of what I'm up to right now.
Listen, you just hit on many things that are super meaningful to me, and that you reminded me of a grant that I did with Alma Haral, where we did a grant. We did a T-shirt, and we did a grant for a short film or short form film for women over 40, because of course they get far less opportunities, especially because maybe by the time they were 29 and I just talked about this in an interview, by the time they're 29 and their white male colleague has been given opportunities, they might not. And then they sort of move into the giving birth and having children and staying at home. And a lot of them leave the business, so we lose their voice. So some of them raise kids, and by the time they're over 40, they're looking to get some sort of opportunity for work. And of course, as you know, it's a little more challenging. So I love what you're doing. And also, you know, for me, being part of the LGBTQIA community, anytime that can amplify these marginalized communities, women, and LGBTQIA, non-binary, and all of that, I love that you're doing that. And we definitely want to, I would love to go deeper into that. But I think my first question for you today is, you know, as someone who's been in this business and as a photographer, what drew you to the NFT space?
Sure. Yeah. So, you know, I'm a filmmaker. I've been a filmmaker I got into the business 2 years ago, and started off as, you know, production assistant and learned how to make movies that way.
Is it just, sorry, Julie, is it just
Am I
me
rugged?
that's cannot hear you?
Can you hear me now? Am I rugged?
Jordan, I can hear her.
Jason?
I can hear her.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, somebody else take over, because
I think Jordan got rugged. Can you guys hear me?
I can't hear anything.
Yeah,
Anybody
you're good
else?
to go, Julie.
Oh no, but Jordan's rugged.
All right, if you guys, I think this is a Twitter thing, because I can't hear any of you. I'll tell you what, Elle, can you take over from that question, because it might be me.
Sure. Go ahead, Julie. We got you. We'll figure out Jordan's mic.
Okay. And yeah. Okay. So anyway, the question was how I got into the NFT space, right?
Yeah.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Coffee's kicking in. So what I was saying was I'm a filmmaker, and I started off as a production assistant and worked my way up that way. Learned how to produce films by just actually doing them, and you know.
Hey, Julie, I don't think anyone can hear any of us.
What?
I'm getting messages in the back channels.
Okay, can you hear me?
That no one can understand anyone. You may not be able to understand me. Can you guys understand?
I can hear everyone.
Do we want to try to just?
Can you guys understand me? Anyone? Hit 100
Yeah,
if you can hear me. So no one can hear me. Wow.
Someone message Jordan. We can. Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I'll message Jordan right now. And
guys,
let's just put this.
We'll try to get this sorted.
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you?
Julie, you're back.
Dude,
Oh my
fucking
God.
Twitter Spaces needs to sort it out. I don't know what to say.
Listen,
Someone.
yeah, they suck, but this is what we got. All right, start over because I'm so interested and I couldn't believe that we were we were getting rugged.
Okay, so I got into the, and I'm just gonna, I'm gonna just sort of, yeah, sort of cut to the point here. I got into the NFT space about, I guess at this point it's almost been a year. So it was like around this time last year. A friend of mine, Will Savas, who's an incredible human being and works with the Zanzibar Venture guys, and they do great things for photography and women in the space. And he had seen some of the photos that I'd been posting on Instagram, and suggested that I get involved and get educated on NFTs, because there was at that point in time not a lot of photographers in the space, like let alone female photographers. So he onboarded me into the space, and I did my first drop in August. So I spent a couple months like trying to wrap my head around what an NFT was, and really learning and understanding the whole community aspect of the space. And so when I did my first drop, it sold out in under 30 minutes, and I started just realizing how powerful what's going on in this Web3 movement is, and just really loving the fact that it was connecting me directly to my collectors, connecting me directly to people that just give a shit about art and want to talk about it. And so when that went as well as it did, I think the idea started forming in my mind of like, well, if I'm gonna go about making this feature, I why not try to make it with a group of people who care about the art first, because Hollywood can be very tricky. It's a lot of, there's a lot of gatekeeping, and look, this is coming from someone who's grew up in this business, and it's not to say I'm entitled to anything, but there are certain doors that I've been able to open but still get told no. And so I just, I know there are other artists out there that have important voices that just get told no because they're not able to show that they're going to have this famous person in their project holding a machine gun. And so I've been frustrated with the gatekeeping that's been going on in the entertainment business for a while. And I think that it's part of what's hurt the movie industry. I know that TV has had a, sort of renaissance, and that films are not as creative as they used to be. And so anyway, the idea started forming in my mind of like, if we make a movie with the NFT community, so it's completely funded by the NFT community, it gives complete creative control and power back to the people, the artists that are making this movie. And, I don't have to answer to a financier that doesn't really care about me making a good movie. They want to just know what famous person is going to be squeezed into some role arbitrarily because they're worth money overseas. Whereas I believe that I believe that we can trust audiences to want to consume thoughtful, good content. And I think that like these repackaged, remakes and superhero movies are fun and they have their place. But I do think that it's time for true film and cinema to come back. And so with this drop and with this movie, I think we can really pave that way and bridge the gap between films and the NFT world, and start to be on the forefront of the resurgence of film. It's these things are cyclical, and I think that TV is starting to become oversaturated, and there's all these different platforms with all these different TV shows that I think that the time is now for film to make a comeback. And with the sort of creative freedom that Web3 and NFTs offer, it feels like a very synergistic, like perfect moment for this.
I love this so much, and I have been really looking forward to hearing you speak on it, because I love the fact that you made this a generative project, and I love the fact that that the community has the opportunity to create this. How does that? I'm curious, and Sarah, by the way, I do see your hand, and I will get to you. How does that work? How does that break down? How's the community going to be involved in the telling of your film?
Yes. So basically, I'm gonna do, we're working, we're about 30% sold out, and we've got a couple pushes that are coming this month that we're excited about. But essentially, like once we're completely whole and we've figured out, exactly what our next steps are, and we've locked in shoot dates, I'm gonna do weekly town hall meetings where I just open up my creative process, and I talk to the community about where I'm at in the process, bring everyone up to speed on the story and what the movie is, and just get everyone's opinion. I mean, it's sort of like an amazing opportunity to, almost have like a market screening before the movie's even shot. It's just like, well, here's an audience, here's the community represents my audience. These are people that like my artwork, that understand my aesthetic, that are on board with the sort of ethos of this movie. And so as creative decisions come up, anything that I'm struggling with, I feel like this space is so warm and welcoming that I feel comfortable to be vulnerable with my holders, in a sense that I can just say, hey, here's what I'm struggling with this week. There's, in this scene, this is happening. This is what I'm trying to convey, but I'm not quite sure how to convey it. What do you guys think? And just really open it up and, have a discussion about it. That's how the community will weigh in, via these sort of weekly town halls.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I want to go to Sarah, who has had her hand up, and but Sarah, right before we get to you, I just want to welcome. We have a lot of new people in here, and it's super exciting. We're excited to be talking to Julie because I do think this is such an innovative way, and we've been looking for this. I'll tell you, the squad has been looking for something like this all year. So uh, I am so excited to be talking to you about it. You guys, if you just arrived, the NFT Filmmaker Squad meets every Wednesday here from 1 to 3, and we spotlight different filmmakers. And, the ecosystem is so early, so it's really incredible to have Julie talking about the process and also, how she's bringing it to community. If you want to join our Discord, you can find that in my link tree. And but we are here to be of support to other filmmakers and to be here for your questions. And if you want to come up on stage, please request to get involved in the conversation. And Sarah, how you doing?
Good morning, everyone. I'm doing great, and I'm so excited, and I'm a little bit nervous. This is my first time I'm talking in space, but I'm so excited. I want to thank you for letting me to be in a space, and thank you for having me. And I want to have a special thanks to Elle, who's introduced me to this space, and she took me to couple events from NFT. And like a couple days ago, I finally got comfortable and I got my first NFT, and it was Julie's. And the first moment, at the first moment I saw I said, "Oh, this is it. This is gonna be my first one." I hope to collect more women in this space, if you guys let me. And I have a question from Julie. When you were new in in the NFT space, what were your obstacles, and how did you come down with it?
Well, first, thank you so much, Sarah, for jumping in with us. That's super exciting. I'm really happy to be your first NFT, and we do have a lot of the people who have collected from the Keepers of the Inn seem to be first timers. So that's also just really exciting to me, because I know that there are a lot of rug pulls and crazy things that go down in this space that really turn people off from NFTs. So I'm excited to have that responsibility to show everyone what this is really about and what this community truly stands for. So welcome to the inn, and thank you. When I was getting started in the space, like to be honest, it was pretty amazing, because it happened so quickly, and I spent some time really listening and doing research and just kind of like absorbing as much as possible. I also reached out to a couple individuals. Dave Krugman, I don't know if anyone, I mean, y'all should probably know him. He's an amazing photographer, and he's one of the first people that I spoke to in the space, and he was just so happy to like hop on a Zoom with me and answer all my questions. Yeah,
He's amazing.
He's amazing, and just accessible, and that's really the thing that I learned quickly. And one of the first things that I realized was just how accessible everyone is and how willing everyone is to answer questions. So you know, it wasn't, it was a pretty smooth entry, I have to say. You know, any questions that I had, I would just reach out to people and get pretty immediate answers. And through a couple different Zoom sessions with people who were doing similar things as me, you know, and just picking their brains and just listening to them talk, and being as much of a sponge as possible. Like those things were all really valuable in terms of getting me ingrained. And so now that I'm like all the way in, and you know, I feel like I haven't slept more than 3 hours a night since my first drop in August. Like I'm it's full-time metaverse. So, you know, I try to do the same thing. My DMs are open, and you know, I'm by no means an expert on how things work fully in the space. I have not been in here as long as other people, but I'm full time with it, and I do have some knowledge. So I try to just keep my DMs open and respond to comments, and just you know, sort of pay it forward in the same way that it was done to me. So to answer the question, my entry into the space was pretty smooth, but that's just a testament to how accessible and you know, available people are in the space to answer questions.
It's so true, right? I mean, having come from the film business, and then also I was in the crypto world for a long while before I jumped into NFT space. And what I've noticed is the kindness and generosity that while there are, you know, bad players, there often are in anything. I feel like on the balance in this community, I have met some of I've been blessed. I'm going to use that word. I've been blessed this community with some of the most incredible new friends over the last year. A lot of them are in this room right now, that are just superior souls, with their kindness and generosity. So, Sarah, welcome, you know, to the space. And you know, if you need anything, I love that Julie's got her DMs open, and I feel like, you know, you can reach out to pretty much any of us, certainly in the squad, and we're here for you. And I mean that for everyone in this room, because that is a part of what the manifesto of the filmmaker squad is.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, you're welcome. I mean, Elle's a rock star, so I'm glad
Guys,
she's on
I have
board.
to say that makes me so. Sorry, I got rugged. So sorry.
Yeah, you're back.
I have to just really quickly, I'm so proud of you, Sarah. This is like, I can't imagine the first time you speak in a room is so daunting. And, you know, you onboard a lot of people when you're in the space and you just never know what's going to stick. And I'm just really excited to see her kind of take that first step. So
You had a question.
I always have questions.
Yeah,
is it my time?
Yeah, please.
So, Julie, I'm so excited to talk to you. I actually also got one of your pieces, and where do I start? Which question do I want to? So, I'm really interested to kind of see what is was this a project that you had prior to the NFT space? And if so, did you have to recalibrate a few things to make it accommodate the formats and things that you need to bring into the space?
Elle, thank you so much for being a keeper. Awesome. Awesome to have you. Yeah, the project was born in the NFT space. So it was my Genesis drop was a series of 100 photos that I took at the Madonna Inn, and those photos inspired the screenplay for this movie. So it's really been a very organic unfolding, to be completely honest. Like the format of this drop is a photo series, so like technically it's a photography. You know, the NFTs are photography, right? So they're photos that I took while I was rehearsing the movie, which is exciting to me because, you know, it was a thing that we really had to figure out. Was like, okay, we want to do an NFT drop, we want to, you know, raise funds for the movie and these, you know, these other initiatives. So what are the tokens going to look like? And I didn't know that right away. I didn't know what that structure was going to be, but I think the idea of having them be sort of like proof of concept, just kind of like setting the tone for the film, it was really exciting that I was able to do that. So to answer your question, like, yeah, it's been a very organic unfolding, and I didn't really have to tailor anything in the film to make it happen in the space. It's just sort of unfolded.
I noticed that you, I saw somewhere mentioned, because I love that you made this a generative project, like to have so many, and it makes complete sense. And that's why I said earlier, we've really been waiting for someone like you to come in with an idea that we hadn't chopped yet, like in this way. And I saw that you had worked with Stanley, who of course is like another OG in this, and the creator of Robotos. Was it through conversation with him that that this sort of generated this idea?
Yeah, so Pablo and his team they're epic. And I guess, like, yeah, when we first started talking to Pablo, we weren't sure of the number. That was like the thing that he and his team really helped us figure out, because some people, like, the space is so new. So I had a lot of conversations. Like, I tried to kind of get a consensus from different people, like, how should I go about this? And no one really, there is no answer. It's just because it's not kind of never been done. So it's just, people were just giving their opinion. And so that was the thing. It's just like, some people were saying, like, you should do 10,000, and then some people were saying, like, you should do 500 and price them super high. And I think Pablo really helped us figure out that number that was the perfect balance between, like, okay, I think that I can deliver this, because I want the art to be good. That's the most important thing to me. I want it to be quality. I want every NFT to be quality and work as a standalone, even if there are additions, which there are. I want the artwork to be stellar. It has to be of a certain quality. And so what's the balance between that and also wanting to have, an audience? That's the point of this, is that it's not just a group of 150 whale collectors that are buying pieces at 5 ETH. It's just, I wanted to make it accessible, so that way, people like Sarah or anyone else that's like new to the space can just jump in for 0.09 ETH and have a beautiful photo that comes with all this utility. So Pablo really helped as a soundboard for us to figure out what that number was going to be. And then just creatively, like, on the web design side of it, he just knocked it out of the park. Like, the experience of scrolling through the website is cinematic, and I've not really seen that ever on a website. I mean, he crushed that. And then we're also, now that everyone's back in the office after the holidays, are working on new sections of the website that will be accessible to holders, which will be way more interactive, and also give more details about the movie, where you'll be able to go, pick a scene and watch look at the photos in order as they're meant to be consumed, read pages of the script, and then all sorts of other fun, sort of gamified cinematic experiential things. So yeah, Pablo's been a delight. And they've just launched their new company. It's called Bueno. So if you look at Bueno NFT, at Bueno NFT, they are taking on clients, and I encourage anyone that's looking to partner with someone to build a Web3 platform for their drop. Like, they've been incredible, and really, really, really care about the artist vision.
Yeah, I mean, he's got such a great reputation as just a really wonderful human being in this space. And when I saw that, I was like, good on you for getting Pablo on your team. I love that. I wanted to just hark back to something that you said about having asked everyone. You got Krugman and you got Pablo, and they're brilliant, right? I mean, really, I think they were great people to get some advice from. And but that's one of the things, like, when I scroll through here, we've talked to so many people, Kamani and Lauren and Crystal and Ian, and a lot of the conversation for the last year has been the strategy, and that you were like, yeah, no one really knows, we're so early, there's not like one strategy, and really, I'm having these conversations every week, and by the time it came for me to decide the strategy on my Genesis drop, it was not easy to because it's unique to each piece of work, each creator. um, and it took me a couple months of just like, what is right for this particular piece. And I think that that's something that's really helpful for a lot of the new filmmakers coming in, and and especially when you're looking at platforms, you're looking at file sizes. one of the reasons that I didn't go with Oprah is because of the file limit, and I know that that's a big conversation for us as filmmakers, and that's why I'm going with Zora, because they're giving me 500 megabytes. And Jason, one of the squad members, is a post-production supervisor, and he's made my little short motion picture look incredible in that compressed as fuck file. And so I love that you spoke to that, because I think that's really important for all of us as we keep moving forward. Julie's way may not be your way. Kamani's may not be your way. My way may not be your way. But we're here to support you on whatever your way is. I see a ton, and I'm so happy about all these hands. I'm going to reset the room really quickly, and then we're going to start opening up the floor even more. For those of you guys who are new here, we are the NFT Filmmaker Squad. We've been holding conversations for 11 months every week, and we've seen this film ecosystem grow so much, especially in the last couple of months. We're so excited that you're here. If you want to join our community, we do have a Discord, and it's getting fun in there. You can find that in my link tree. I am big on building community, and in fact, the whole squad is. And so I like to talk about micro and macro actions in ways that you can help support your fellow creators and colleagues. Take a look around the room, not just the people on stage. A lot of amazing people in here, to your left, to your right. One great micro action is just following one another here in the space. Another one is retweeting, because maybe you don't have bags to pick up one of the pieces. But if you do, and a great macro action to help Julie or any of the other filmmakers in this space who've got some projects going on, is you can pick up, you can buy one of their pieces and be part of their community. So there's micro and macro actions, and they are all important, because I have often felt the frustration of not able to put my ETH where my mouth is, but I know how important it is for us to get eyes on each other's work. We can get eyes on Julie's work by retweeting it to our own communities. So I think that's it for Reset right now. Sophie, I think it was you, then Jason, then Miguel. Buenos dias. Sophie.
Yes, can you hear me? I'm still Wi-Fi-less over here, so I'm hoping that, yeah, am I good?
So far so good.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much, Julie, for coming in. I missed the first 5 minutes. I missed some of the intro, but so I hope I'm not repeating things that you've already said. And just echoing what Jordan just said, I think it's so important to keep thinking about the way that we're experimenting in this space, right? And it's one of the joys of coming to this room week after week is seeing the sheer variety of ways that film is operating in this space. And that's partly what is so exciting about this space. We don't have to do it the same way, and that's super exciting. My question for you was about you thinking about sort of artist vision and how you could just follow that in this space. And that obviously is something that is fundamental always, and is one of the uses of NFTs for us. But I wonder, how does that balance with the kind of creative input of people buying NFTs and having that creative input? I remember we were talking to Will, who's doing the non-fungible show, and a similar kind of question came up about how do you balance that feeling of people essentially helping produce creatively, but not sort of lose your artistic voice and sort of what you want to be saying and your choices. Is that something that you have thought about, or it's something that I think about and sort of scares me finally? So I just wondered if what your sort of plan was for that.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's kind of I'm figuring it out as I go, right? One of the amazing things about this whole experience so far has been hearing people's interpretations of the photos, because I have not yet really released all the info on what's going on in this movie, what the plot points are, what happens. I'm still sort of keeping it mysterious as we continue to sell the photos, and kind of dropping alpha in the Discord and little hints from the script. But one of the most amazing things has been just hearing people's interpretations and things that they're getting from the photos, whether it be stuff that I've intended that I'm great, that's coming across, or it's something that I didn't even realize was being said with a photo that I'm oh my God, that's something that I now want to explore. And so I'm not hung up on we're so early on and we're developing this so, slowly that right now I'm kind of just in that spitball stage of like, there are no bad ideas. Like I want to hear everything from everyone because maybe it's going to inspire something new. And I think, as we move forward and as the details of the script and everything crystallizes, then it will be a more of a balancing act, and I'll have to figure out some structures in terms of like the way the voting works and the things that the community, is voting on. But I definitely trust the people that are involved with this to, pretty much it's a small community right now. Like we're growing, but I think the number of pieces is going to keep it small enough to where like, I think everyone that's involved is really buying in for the right reasons and really just wants to see this be the best version of the movie as possible. And so I trust the community to also trust me as the sort of captain of the ship and the director of this thing to ultimately make the right call and do the right thing. And if that means, having to explain why I'm making the decisions that I'm making, then that's great. As filmmakers, like we want to be responsible for the content that we're putting out. So I love having to answer questions about why I'm making choices creatively. That's great. I don't like having to answer those questions to financiers who are who don't care about the artistic project and are asking me, just trying to force me into a box. That gets frustrating. But when it's answering questions, and figuring things out with peers or other artists or collectors who know what makes, art special, then only good things can come, in my mind.
I love that so much. I feel like we're completely, what you're talking about is shifting the dial between, pleasing the financial whims of these like random people who aren't interested in the art at all, to having responsibility, right? Because what you're talking about is artistic responsibility to people. And so also, I like you use the word democratize on your website, which I just thought that's exactly the way to think about film in this space. And think about what you're doing, because you're saying I'm not going to be some lone creator who doesn't have to explain myself and does things that are inexplicable, and I'm never going to engage with that creative discussion. You're saying I want to do this with people and have that question. So this is about relationships and community, which is NFT space, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Like, just to build off that, I'm not a painter, so I'm not like in a room by myself with paint. I'm a collaborator. It's the thing that I love the most about filmmaking. It's coming together, building a team, and working with everyone towards a common goal. Like I played a lot of sports growing up. I was a big softball athlete, and I played a little bit in college, and so like the whole team mentality is really important to me, and it's just fun. I think it taps into the little girl in me that just want to, have friends and create alternate realities to go, play around in with my friends. And that's essentially what we're doing here with Web3 and NFTs and the metaverse. It's sort of just that. So definitely feel like there's that aspect of filmmaking, in Hollywood and in the indie world even has kind of burnt out a bit. It's like it's less about the process and more just about what can we bang out as quickly as possible, that's going to sell quickly. And it's just, for me, I love the process. I love talking about the movie and the story and rehearsing it and taking photos of the rehearsal and then going back and rewriting and having new ideas. Like I think all of those things are so important when making a film. Otherwise, the end result is going to be half baked. But if you put that time in pre-production and even development, it makes the final cut more, it just gives it more soul. It's a more fully realized vision. Film is like wine. It just really does get better, the longer you let it sort of marinate. And that's not to say that you should let it marinate forever. I do, that's also a trap, not that you don't want to fall into, of just never making the thing. But I think that's more of the intuitive side of filmmaking, is just knowing when it's time to jump in and make it. Anyway, I'm off on a bit of a tangent, but yeah, yes to everything you said, and just like amen to the creative process and the collaborative nature of film.
I love that tangent. That was an awesome tangent. I think you speak to a lot of us, who really love the collaboration. I see you, Jason. I'm coming to you next. I do want to. I wanted to speak to something that I was in a space yesterday talking about my project, and the question came up that is important for people in, I think, the NFT space to understand that for filmmakers it's different right now. And you said, you're not a painter who's just in a room working by yourself, and a lot of the projects here, we can see someone can do a piece of work and then they can mint it because they can. For us, we have to look at, okay, how am I going to actually get the financing to shoot this and collaborate with my team, and also be able to pay my team a sustainable wage, which is something that even from the studios down to the indie, if they don't care about, they care about the money, they don't care about the project. They want to make sure that their bottom line, and they're squeezing us down to where people are working for not livable wages, right? So I was trying to explain that there's a little more challenging for filmmakers, and I think that that's why one of the many reasons why your project is super exciting and the way you're moving it forward, because it's a model, a Web3 model of crowdfunding in a way, so that you can get some of the financing that you need in order to be able to to pay community, your team. And so that's part of why this excites me, and the Web3 excites me so much. I'm sure that's probably a really good segue for Jason right there.
Well, it's a great segue, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone that's in the room. Really excited to see all of you guys. There's definitely, a palpable momentum, since the calendar turned over. There's definitely a palpable momentum for film in this space, and it's really super duper exciting, and really excited to speak to Julie about it, because I love the structure of her project. My question was actually completely stolen by Sophie, so thanks for just literally just stealing my question. But to branch off a little bit from that question of involving other people in the creative process, the collectors in the creative process, because I have two projects that I'm working on right now. One is super duper personal to me, that I wouldn't want anyone to really, alter the creative vision that I have for it. And then I have another project that's coming up that we're in production now in a month or so, that I would love to have people be involved in, in writing episodes and doing things like that. So I'm really excited to see how Julie set up, how you set up your project, because, and as we were alluding to before, and I've always called it a choose your own adventure book. It's a wonderfully creatively freeing experience to be able to up with a concept, a paradigm for your project that dovetails nicely with what the project itself is, and then the whole campaign becomes an extension of the film itself. We're really kind of creating a new genre. It's not the same thing as raising funds with Kickstarter and stuff like that, and where you're limited to a month of perks and a rigid structure. And so that's why we're all here to support each other and boost each other up for success. Because Julie, what you're doing is completely different from my two projects, which is completely different from Jordan's two projects, which is completely different from Kamani's projects and Ian's projects. And that's the best part of this whole thing. So Julie, you really kind of answered my question, when Sophie, asked my question. But I wonder if you could just speak a little more to, especially because you said, it's kind of, it's not set in stone yet. It's kind of a developing thing. Because when I did my feature, when I did a Kickstarter for my feature, I'll frame it this way. When I did a Kickstarter for my feature, almost 10 years ago now, it was a documentary that was going to take 7 or 8 years. So I felt anybody that was contributing to that Kickstarter before we had ever shot a frame, I felt an immediate, responsibility to. Someone is investing in me directly. Someone's investing in the project directly, and I take that seriously. I take that very seriously, and especially in the NFT world, that you can be directly connected to your audience. It can be freeing, or for some neurotic Jewish people from New York like me, it can also be a little bit paralyzing. So if you can kind of speak to, I'd be afraid. I'll put it this way: I'd be afraid that if I'm having one of these town halls and explaining my process and soliciting input from people, that as things go, people might give you ideas that you have no interest in, but maybe they've invested so much that you feel a responsibility to go down that road and feel that tug away from your own creative vision. So especially without having it, locked in, it could be real easy to get taken off track from what you really want to do. So I was wondering if you can speak a little more to, you're kind of, maybe you're not even feeling it at all, but if you're feeling any angst to feel a responsibility to people, and how you're weighing that back and forth with your own, singular creative vision.
Yeah, definitely. I'll all valid points and fears. You know, for me, like my style of directing and filmmaking, I'm just not the type of filmmaker that has this vision that's set in stone, that everything needs to go according exactly the way that I see it, and the shot has to go like that. It's just like I'm not that meticulous about it. Like I'm a very intuitive filmmaker, and so I'm always asking the actors how it felt. And I direct the things that I write, and if you improv a line that's better than what I wrote, great. Like I see a script as a jumping off point, and I think especially when you're on set actually capturing the moment, the most important thing is to just be as present as possible. And I think a lot of that comes from my family having a real theater background, and studying a lot of theater. Is just, that's what it's all about. Is just, that's when the magic happens, is when you're the most present, and you've kind of just throw everything that you've studied and prepared out the window. So just to kind of give a little background on my style and my sort of essence as a filmmaker. If things have to change, like, I'm okay with that. And I sort of go with the flow. And, I look at creative challenges as a blessing. And, if there's a location I want, but we can't get it, and it has to be this location, I write around that. And so, if I'm opening up these town halls, and I'm calling on the community for input, and it's someone that's collected a bunch that feels strongly about something. I don't know, like I kind of trust that, that what if someone is feeling strongly about something that just is not in line with what my gut is telling me is the right move for this film. I trust and feel confident in my ability to articulate why that's not the move, and I trust whoever is collecting to be able to hear that and understand it. And um ultimately anyone that's buying one of these pieces, and anyone that's buying these pieces in volume, certainly is doing it because they believe in me and my vision, and they trust me and my vision. And so I think that just kind of like innately built into the DNA of the purpose of this drop is, I don't think that an event like that is possible. I mean, I just don't think someone would be collecting at a high volume and then want to like butt heads with me about a creative decision, especially when I am as collaborative as I am. It's like, if I feel strongly that something needs to be a certain way, and people who've worked with me will attest to this, but also just everyone in the community that's getting to know me will see this as I'm updating people weekly. It's like, if I feel strongly that something needs to be a specific way, like, that there are not many moments in which I'm like, hey, seriously, this needs to be this way, and here's why. If I'm at that point, then surely everyone that's involved will know, like, hey, this is probably the move, because Julie feels strongly about it. So I don't know, like, I don't operate from a place of fear. I think I will cross that bridge, or those bridges, if they come up, but I feel confident that that they won't. I don't know if that's why, but that's just sort of what my gut is telling me, and it's my gut rarely, if ever, leads me down the wrong path.
And you know what? And just before we move on to the to the next person, but I just wanted to add to that really quick. And you're exactly right about that. And I think our directing styles are probably pretty similar, because I've always explained my directing style as like the 405. If anyone's from California, like there's 8 lanes, 4, 5, 8 lanes that can all get you to the same place. So I'm always about like, let's experiment and see what we come up with, and the magic happens. And what the thing really is, if we're coming from the legacy space, I come from legacy independent film. I like to call it legacy. We're so used to being screwed. We're so used to being, gate kept, like you said, that we've talked about a lot. And people who pay the bills and pay your way to make your pictures want it done a certain way, and you feel beholden to that. But this is such a whole new world that even I, after a full year, I'm still getting used to the fact that you're right. If somebody is investing a lot of money in your stuff, it's not because they want to alter your vision to whatever they want. They don't want to give you network notes. They don't want to give you studio notes. They want you to make the thing you want to make. Maybe they want to have some input or have a little credit or whatever, but they're not doing it to like change what you're doing. And that's just a different mindset in the NFT world. That's why we're all here. It's a different mindset that is is the best mindset, if you ask me, but completely antithetical to legacy independent film. And that still, even after a year, takes a little getting used to.
For sure.
Yeah, that's great question, Jason, and I love that. I think that I mean, myself as a director, I feel like that the smartest thing I can do is cast the right actors and get the right other collaborators and really lean into them. So if there's a moment on set, and that's where the magic happens. I mean, those are like the most transcendent moments, right? Where you see that the people that you are actually collaborating with and co-creating with are serving the story. I think that that's a beautiful way to approach your town halls, Julie, and that sort of same collaborative effort is super cool. Miguel, I'm so happy you've made it. Hola, buenas. How are you?
Hola, hello. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. Thank you, Julie, for everything you've explained, and congratulations and good luck. It's very exciting. During the first part of this space, I actually minted one of the pieces, and yeah, the website is great and the experience is great. So yeah, I can't wait to be a part of this whole project. And actually, I'm also a filmmaker in the space, and I have a similar project that we're launching very soon for my first feature film, Calladita. And so it's all very inspiring, what you've done so far. And I had a couple quick questions about the film. The first one is, I'm not really sure if you already said, but maybe I missed it. Like, what point is the film at in terms of development? Is the script already finished, or are you still writing it? Or like, and kind of like, what's the calendar going forward?
Yeah, thank you, Miguel, for picking up a piece. That's awesome. Definitely tweet me and show me which one you got. So that's such a fun part of the minting process, is just seeing the reveals. There are, I think, 17 one-of-one rare film photos left that have not been minted yet. So I'm like just kind of watching as the mints roll in to see when that next one's going to go. So in terms of where we're at in the process, like we are very early on. I have a first draft of the script, and that first draft has been incredible because it got us distribution through an awesome company. It's called Utopia Films. It's Robert Schwartzman's company. They just did Shiva Baby. I don't know if anyone's seen that. It's an incredible movie that got a lot of
very cool.
Yeah, they're great. They also scooped up Gaspar Noé's new feature, and they're just like very much in line with my aesthetic and sort of similar to what we were talking about, what Jason, like just they are all about giving the director and the artist, creative freedom and supporting that vision and, weighing in when necessary, but really just have been incredible to work with because they just want to know what my vision is and they want to do everything to help bring that to life. So they're on board as the distributor. They're also our production company. So that's amazing. Just, being my first feature, just that they will handle all of the logistics and I can strictly focus on the creative. So, at this, we have a first draft of the script. I am in the process of starting to just kind of figure out. I have some things that I want to do for the second draft. A few of them are inspired by the photos that I took for this drop and are a direct result of that rehearsal process. So that's really cool. The Madonna Inn is 100% on board and confirmed. That contract has been done. So we've got the location. It's going to be a 20-day shoot, which is like phenomenal. That's 4 weeks, and obviously any additional days may have to be added, but they're on board and they're excited, and we're going to also be aligning with them for some really fun merch and interactive experiences that will take place at the Madonna Inn. Right now we're just kind of trying to figure out when we want to shoot this, whether it's going to be in the first half of this year or the second half. Like the shoot dates initially were confirmed for April, but I think in conversations with Utopia and just sort of planning out the pre-production process, we're feeling like it might make sense to shoot it over the summer and just kind of give this community some time to grow, and also like I spoke about earlier, just giving the script more time to develop. the main plot points are there, the characters are there, the beats are there, everything structurally is sound, and that's why Utopia jumped on board at such an early point in the process. They don't typically do that, but we feel like the roots of this script are strong, and so strategically we're just trying to figure out how we want to approach that, and again, just like I was saying, it's sort of it's sort of an evolving thing, and I kind of, it has not fully crystallized yet. But the Madonna Inn, like, it's so funny because it's just this, to me, it just represents this like beautiful creative rabbit hole that I'm just like, how is this place not fully sold out and booked every single second of every single day? But for some reason, they're still not really like mainstream or like completely on the map. So in terms of availability for shooting there, like it's extremely flexible. So yeah, I think I'm gonna see how the next sort of few weeks play out as we approach, as the sales of the project increase and the community increases, and we're going to start doing the town halls at the end of this month, and just kind of seeing how that flows, and sort of in the next few weeks pick a firm start date and lock it in, and then from there, post-production and all that, like I think at some point, within the first half of next year, whether it be Sundance or Cannes, I think is our goal in terms of like festivals. But at this point, that's so far out, and not something that we really need to be making decisions on. But I think within the next few weeks, we will pick a firm start date and lock it in.
That's great. Thank you so much for all the explanation. Our calendars actually coincide a bit because we are also planning on shooting on the summer for Calladita, so that's brilliant. I had actually a second question, but something you said made me think of another question, because you said that there's some one-of-one photos that are still not being haven't been mint. So I was just a bit confused. Are there different edition sizes within the 3000? So some photos are one-of-ones and some are other edition sizes?
Yeah, so there are 4 tiers within the collection, and it can get a little bit confusing. So this is all broken down on the website for anyone that wants to go see. I'm a visual person, so it's for me. I'm going to talk about those tiers, but they are listed on the website. So tier 1 is 20. There are 22 one-of-one film photographs in the entire collection, and that was important to me because I came into this space as a photographer, and scarcity is a real thing in my opinion. And so when doing this, it's like, okay, I need to release a bunch of photos, but I also preserve my integrity as a photographer in this space, and just the value for my collectors who have collected other one-of-one photographs that I put out there. So tier 1, it's 22 one-of-one film photographs, and by holding multiples of those photographs, that's when some of the more exclusive perks get unlocked, whether it be executive producer credits, trips to the Madonna Inn, coming on set and having the option to appear as an extra in the film, wrap party, all that, all those sort of fun film perks become unlocked by holding the one-of-one film photos. So that's tier 1. Tier 2 is I think there's about 500 tier 2 photos. Those are editions 1 of 2. So that will be 1 color and then 1 black and white. And that tier is comprised of the most pivotal scenes in the movie. So I believe there are four scenes, and then within those 4 scenes, the editions are 1 of 2, a color and a black and white. And then the third tier,
Julie,
yes,
just to clarify, because I'm not sure I got that. The mint, it's random what you get, or is the different price tiers as well?
Nope, it is 100% random. So anyone minting at 0.09 has an equal shot of landing a rare one, which is exciting to me. Like I just love that part of this sort of larger scale generative projects. It's just like you could mint one at a super low cost and like wind up with like the number 1 most rare piece. So yeah, the minting is randomized. The tier 3 photos are editions 1 of 5, and so, but within those editions, they are we've done like this really cool illustrative what we call pink milk tonic treatment to the photos. So each edition of 5 looks different, and the pink milk tonic treatment is relates to the script, because there's in the script there are these sort of psychedelic pink milk tonics that the keepers of the inn drink. So sort of think Clockwork Orange. It's just these kind of laced drinks that the members of this hotel / cult sip on and get freaky with. So that's tier 3, and then tier 4 are editions 1 of 10, and those are what we call world building photos. So those are photos that really just sort of set the tone and the atmosphere and have the most characters in them. And yeah, those are the tiers. It is broken down on the website, and I know it can get confusing, but so anyone that has any questions can DM me or ask me directly. But hopefully that made a little bit of sense.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you. And if I may, can I just ask the third question, which was about, have you thought or planned on giving any kind of revenue share to the token holders? Because I know that's like a big thing in fundraising projects in general, but also know it's very tricky. So I just wondered, what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it is very tricky, and I'm with Utopia. We are talking to lawyers and people who know way more than I about how to make that possible. So there's nothing that I can say sort of like publicly about that, other than that has, from the very beginning, that has been a goal of mine, is to take what you would call investor shares of the film and distribute them to holders. And so it's something that's important to me, that I'm working on, that I feel confident that by the time the film is finished and ready to be released in theaters, I think we should have that figured out. But I just didn't want to include that in the roadmap, because it is not something that is 100% confirmed at this point. But I intend on doing that. Yep.
That's the problem with these things, that even if you're working very hard on it, if you don't have the solution yet, legally you're not able to say it, because that would be the problem, right? Just saying that you're working on that would run you into trouble.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. And I've like taught, you should hear me on these calls with these like straight-laced lawyers, where I'm just like, well, what about if I just like decide to gift everyone percentages of the movie? Like, that's not illegal. I can give percentages of my movie to whoever I want. Like, I'm thinking of loopholes, and I will come up with something. And even if it involves some sort of like giving the IP of the NFT itself, like there are options, and I'm weighing all of them. But since this film was born because of this community, and since this film started off as a series of 100 NFTs, I'm very excited about, at the end of the process, breaking it down literally and figuratively into into pieces, fractionalized, that are redistributed amongst the community. I think there's something like really beautiful and poetic about that. That sort of full circle thing. So for sure, I'm on it, and I'm excited to be able to speak more publicly about what we're doing with that when the time's right.
I can't wait to actually see what you choose to do with that, because a lot of the squad here knows Johnny Kaplan and his NFT Me project. And one of the things, Miguel, and you might want to take a look at this, that the way he chose to roll it out and holding on to the IP, but yeah, I think he has 3 different token levels, and people get different, they're able to participate for the next 5 years in a profit share. So he's broken that down in a particular way that, I mean, it's been about 6 months since we talked to him about it, and he's, and he's rolling it out. He's out shooting right now, but might be just a model to look at, because that's the thing. Like what Julie just said, it's like she's talking to so many lawyers and trying to figure it out, and we're so new. It is so new. I know Elle can speak to the speaking to lawyers thing.
Yeah, I'm also speaking to a bunch of lawyers about it. It's a nightmare.
It's a nightmare, right?
We're just trying to give back to the community, and they won't let us. As Julie said, it's crazy. You can certainly gift someone a percentage of the film, but you can't say that you will do that before they give you their money. That's the whole problem.
Exactly. But I don't know. I've got some pretty creative lawyers, and we'll figure it out. There's time, and there's also just other opportunities. If we look at this thing as the first, as something that's really paving the way and kind of groundbreaking, and hopefully leads to other filmmakers, going about getting their projects made in the way that I'm doing it, then that should make for a really exciting story, and that should kind of like hopefully bring more eyes and attention and spotlights to to the NFT community, specifically to film. So I think just there's going to be opportunities for everyone to profit in some way. And for me, it's just like the community comes first. So I don't know. I've got everyone's backs. I'm here for the long haul, and I want all of us to succeed. I believe that abundance is abundant, and that if one of us is successful, it means all of us are. So I think that's a big one with this too, is just trying to open this door and then hold it open for everyone, and just I think this is the beginning of a new wave.
For sure, 100%. And I want to speak to that in a second, but Landy's been patient there with her hand up, and I see you, She Crypto. And Landy, before we come to you, I just want to take a second and reset the space and just welcome a lot of new people in here. The NFT Filmmaker Squad meets every Wednesday here, and we basically are pioneering this ecosystem, this NFT ecosystem, bridging film to NFTs with each other. Like with Elle and Sophie and Jason and Miguel, who just dropped off the stage, and Kamani, and like all of you guys, every little step that we take and that we share with one another, and we support one another, we are building this new world for one another. And I'm super excited that Julie's here and generously sharing with us like how she's building out this project, and also like, and what I'm going to speak on in a minute, Julie, is how you've already inspired me and something I've been thinking about for a year to move forward on a thing. But right now, I want to introduce you to the wonderful Landy, who's an OG member of the squad, if she's here. If she's not,
oh, I am still here. I'm still here. Thanks so much, Jordan. Julie, I've absolutely loved listening to you talk, and the reason why I had my hand up is because I'm now a keeper. I just went and
fucking
yay!
awesome.
And I just, you know what, it wasn't my intention. It's not like I'm sort of not oh God, someone's at the door. Hang on a second. John, can you get the door quickly? Sorry that, everybody. I just wanted to say that I've just absolutely loved hearing you talk, especially about the community aspect and the giving back, especially to female filmmakers in the space, and coming from this starting, this filmmaker squad with such a band of just absolutely fantastic women who are still trying to figure out, how to navigate this. We're in fact, we've spent so much time putting all our energy into spotlighting every week and running this thing that like we haven't got, some of us are still waiting to do our projects and stuff. But so I loved that. And I also I just have really enjoyed listening to the sincerity with which you are putting together the project, but also just sitting within the environment, because it's a different thing. Some come through and they've really got clever work and beautiful work, and it's all good. But I really feel like you're here for the long run, and I just really have truly believed in you in listening to you speak this evening. So sorry, it's this evening for me. I'm in London, but so I've just bought one. I can't. OpenSea's a bit janky, so I can't get in for some reason right now, so I can't see what I got, but I will tweet it, and I'm really super excited. And I love as well kind of how just hearing you talk has just really emphasized as well how the space is like, I just love the way this whole area is just really starting to blur the lines between, who's a creator, who's a collector, who's a supporter and who's a financer. And the way you've sort of set this project up kind of works for the first time ever. That has just seemed so comfortable. It's just seemed so comfortable that you're kind of all three, if you're sort of in, which I really love too. And I know that everyone here will love that too. And sorry, I've had someone turn up at my door for dinner, so it's all suddenly very noisy here. And I was so hoping Jordan was going to like say Landy before they rang on the doorbell, because they were a few minutes late, and I was just like, oh, please don't arrive yet, please don't. And then they literally arrived as soon as I said hello. So I'm going to get off the phone. I think it's really, I think it's so ace. And to Jason's point as well, I thought it was really good point that like we think about notes, like creative notes, as something sort of negative, right, from the old industry, whereas the idea of that being a very, very positive thing, I think is really, really so interesting. And I just think our brains are going to be rewired in terms of how we finance and how we create content and how we share it with each other and how we all work together. I just think like, fucking bring it on, excuse my language. Okay, goodbye.
Damn! Wow, that was like mic drop status. Landy, thank you so much. Yeah, tweet when it reveals OpenSea is a pain in the ass, and please jump into the Discord. There's a link in my bio that's for the Keepers of the Inn Discord. So definitely, and anyone else that snagged a piece, like pop in there. That's where I'll be teasing some alpha, and like we just have a fun time in there. So jump in. But yeah, everything you just said right now was amazing and encouraging and pumped me up. So let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking
Landy,
go.
Landy's great at being loving and encouraging and supporting, and she's been doing so much. In fact, I'm just going to take a moment and tell you that Motherland.art is her baby, and they are well, Landy, do you want to speak on it about what you guys are doing before you go and hang out with your really super cool husband? And
Motherland.art. Yeah, Motherland.art is something that I've set up. I set it up back in the spring, but the technology hasn't caught up yet to really truly get it going, because I just want to kind of make it easy, and so that the finances aren't difficult, which I won't even really go into. But it's going to be a house of sort of good style curated content of artists who are giving back, and who are giving back in their secondary sales too. So it's kind of, a kind of building this kind of circular economy of how artists and how NFTs can, kind of save the world. And that's the model. I mean, that it's as simple as that. It's going to be a place of conversation and of good art. So but from the artist perspective, it's going to be hopefully a really fantastic collective of people that can support each other. But from a collector's perspective, they know that if they want to buy an NFT, they just need to go there, and there'll just be a whole load of really good art, instead of trying to get through a sea of other collectibles or whatever else is going on in the space. So that's the vibe of it. But I was thinking of changing how the website is set up to say at the top something about the 5%, the 95%. Basically, 5% of the sales that have been made in the NFT space up to date have been women. I mean, that's 95% male dominated, right? So Motherland.art is going to be 95% female and underrepresented groups, right? LGBTQ, people of color, basically we'll have 5% white male on there. That's the plan. So yeah, there you go. That's Motherland.art. And
I'm just going to
watch the space.
I'm going to tell you that, Landy, I was just thinking about how you mentioned that the 5 like OG women of the NFT film squad are women. It's like Elle, Sophie, you, Corinne, and me. And then we have our one little 5% Jason, who joined us, our little cis white male over there.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same model. It's the same model.
Same model. He knows when to keep the mic off. Anyway, Julie, I wanted you to know about Landy before she jumps off to dinner, because I think that, with the initiatives that you've created inside of your project, which are so fucking dope, that you and Landy might find some sort of common ground in the future when she opens up Motherland.art. So Landy, thank you so much. She Crypto has been patient. Welcome.
Hi everybody. How's everybody doing today?
Right.
All right. Okay, so I make film and music, and I put the work in 10 toes down. And my thing is, I have been putting out there in the universe for something that's like Netflix, but with NFTs for creatives, filmmakers, and something that also has like a node functionality for sustainability for people, because that's also an issue for who are artists and filmmakers and people who make music too. So I just joined the community. I'm not going to hold anybody up, but, definitely worked really hard on a film for a long time. And to the point now where I'm ready, to explore like distribution options. And I think that this is like the prime time to do it and to kind of maximize that NFT aspect. So I know there's one platform that just kind of getting his toe wet and is trying to do the whole like blockbuster thing, but I'm just putting that out there if anybody knows of anything or if anybody's going to start anything, because I would like to be a part of that.
I'm just going to jump in on this one. I cannot tell you who they are yet, but I can tell you that they will be spotlighted here in February. But a platform that I'm working with into developing exactly what you're talking about. And I know a couple of others that are out there. They're coming, and that's exciting. And when we first got here and started talking back in March, and we're like, oh my God, file sizes, and there's no platform for us, and nobody, it's changing so fast. If you've been in this community, in the NFT film community, you know then that last March was like 40 years ago in NFT time. And so the fact that Julie's here now with her model and telling us like how we can, a new way and a new innovative way that we can carve out and pioneer this space and a way that can be implemented by other filmmakers. So platforms are coming, but there are platforms here right now if you're talking about short form. So for instance, I chose to do a short form. So my Genesis piece is dropping. I chose Zora because they're going to give me the best file size. And I think that they have an extraordinary community. But there are others, there's Maker's Place that I think that they now are offering like a 600 megabyte. But when you're talking about streaming and, like a Netflix situation, I tell you, keep your eye on the NFT Film Squad because we are going to be, well, I think it's right around the time they launch that we're going to be interviewing them here. So I'm so glad that you found us. I'm so glad you put in the work.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I actually wrote, directed, scored, edited, and did my own thing. I was producing all these films for these guys and helping them. And I actually did something on 16 millimeter, and I had to use the Steinbeck to like edit like this. This time, I've been through it. And so like after I hit that wall, then I thought I was inspired to make my own film. So it's a feature film, and it took a while, but it looks good, and I'm proud of it. So I think the universe is like kind of right where it needs to be for this particular film. So we'll see.
Well, rock on. That is awesome. When these things start to roll out this year, I hope that you're in the Discord or you're shouting it out because we're here to offer support.
Appreciate it. I did just join that Discord, so I did put a couple of links here or there. So,
perfect.
All
That's
right.
awesome.
Everybody have a great day and a good evening. And Landy has a good voice, man. She can read the damn, I don't know, the internet page to me. Like, I'm going to follow her. She seems like good people.
She is good people. A lot of good people. In fact, I'm going to use that and I'm going to jump off and reset the room for a second. Every person in this room, if you're a community builder, if you're interested in bridging NFTs and films, take a look above you, to the avatar below you, to the left and the right. One of the micro actions that you can do to build community is to follow each other, retweet each other's work. And then if you can, purchase it. I understand, and if you're one of those people that don't have the bags right now to be able to fight gas, or purchase some of your colleagues' work yet, but the micro actions add up. And so I just want to welcome you guys. And She Crypto was talking about the Discord. You can find that link in my link tree. And this is really fun because this is actually our second season. We're launching the second season of the NFT Film Squad today with Julie, and it's, for me, it's extraordinary. I'm gonna, to see how far we've come into the conversations that we've had. I'm gonna go to Lily first, and then I'm gonna come back and ask a question. Lily, welcome.
Hey, thank you. I just wanted to say this has been an amazing space. I've been doing a lot of listening because I'm new here to this particular space, but I really appreciate it. And we're here to learn, we're here to contribute, and we've been running like a Web3 film festival highlighting underrepresented filmmakers and creators now for several weeks, and it's our last week doing it. I'd love to just take a minute to encourage folks to come out because we didn't charge the filmmakers to submit, and we're urging people to attend. It's all donation based, and it's super high quality films. We'd love to have people come out and support. I actually wanted to take the time, if I could, ask Julie a question, if that's okay.
Yeah, but wait a second. You're with the Hype Film Festival?
Yes, I'm the founder of it.
Is it HIP or Hype?
Hype, yeah.
Nice. Have I been chatting with you on IG?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Welcome. Yeah, so did you pin your film festival on top?
I didn't do that yet because I didn't want to pin while people are talking.
I want you to pin that so people know about it. And thank you so much for coming and telling everybody about it. I love what you are doing. So yeah, and I know you had a question for Julie.
I did. We're a social good company. And so, our whole mission is really to highlight historically underrepresented creators and filmmakers, and also to highlight social good causes. So as an example, like in our film festival, we did a whole special week called Green Week, which was on sustainability. We have another initiative underway, which is like to help to retell the stories of historically underrepresented communities and their oral histories. And so I wanted to actually ask Julie if you had any suggestions for ways for us to go about doing this, because we do plan to do it through Web3 and NFTs. And we are partnering with several large nonprofits to do this. And, just from like a creative lens perspective, if you have any suggestions, none of us are big names in Hollywood. So, we're just trying to think strategically, how can we get the word out? How can we encourage maybe some people that do have some big names to be involved, and also to make it interesting so people want to learn this information. We're kind of toying with the idea of potentially looking at TikToks, for example, and some shorter form content, because we've kind of given up on the educational school system, and we think it's really important that oral histories from a variety of voices are told in this country. So Julie, I'd love any suggestions, good wishes, insights you might have for us, because this project's like very important to us, and we want to make sure it gets done.
Sure. Yeah, I actually just followed you, and if you want to DM me, like, I don't want to just like let's have like a Zoom and dig in, because it feels like something that would be nice to just have time to for me to learn more about it, and then to iron out together. So if you wouldn't mind DMing me, let's set something up, and we can get into it. But I mean, obviously, like, on board and happy to help in any way that I can, and think it's great that you're doing it this way.
Thank you so much. I'll definitely DM you. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
That's great, Lily. That is awesome. So you guys check out Hype Film Fest. You've been going, let me ask you, you've been doing this since like the 12th of December, the 15th of December, right? Something like that?
Yeah, it's our last week. This week we've got 3 screenings coming up, including one tonight highlighting several amazing films, and then another one tomorrow night, Friday, 2 more films, and as our closing out on the quote virtual yacht, including 2 live performances and an NFT artist as well. So
this is so cool.
Yeah, we're really excited. Tomorrow, if you guys want to learn about DAOs, we're having 2 people come out from the DAO community, one of which is the founder of Filmmaker DAO, another one's Consumer DAO. The gentleman who founded Filmmaker DAO is actually also with Polygon, and he also was part of Friends with Benefits DAO. Both of them are like 10 years in the industry, like literally before it was even an industry. And so, they're really knowledgeable about blockchain, about crypto. They already came to our NFT night, and they were on like a more broader panel, but they were just so informative that, and they were so kind and gracious to come back and do a Twitter Spaces with us. So I'd love to have people come out and support them, just so that it's not an empty space, because they're really knowledgeable. And that's tomorrow at 1:00 Eastern. Would love to have people come there and ask them questions and just participate in the dialogue.
That is so fabulous. I'm so glad you came up and told everybody about that. I know you also were on the in 42nd Street, right? There was a big billboard for you during the
We did. We ran a billboard on Times Square and NASDAQ. That we didn't obviously charge the filmmakers for this, but we made all their posters. We created the thing as a 3D rotating carousel, because we really want to make sure that the faces that are physically shown have a presence that shows people that, it's a statement. We want to make a statement that it's really important that these faces are shown, these voices are heard. I'm a person of color myself, so this is extremely important personally. But also, like, I've been working in civil rights and justice rights for 20 years. So this is like really important that this work gets done, and it's done in community. I'm part of a lot of different communities and been on all kinds of different boards. I'm actually doing what's called like a project lab right now with another group called Asian Americans for Justice. Like, we are doing a media lab to encourage more inclusive voices in the media, and to hopefully encourage more people to see the fun side of this too. Like, it's important, but we want people to enjoy it, because it has to be enjoyable, otherwise people won't come and the mission won't work. So that's another piece that I'm working on in addition to running Hype as well.
Oh, that's so great. That's really great. I think the work you're doing is amazing, and I'm so glad you came up and shared it with us. And I can't wait to see more. I'm going to take a second and just say, if you want to get involved in the conversation, we're going to go till 3:00. We do this every Wednesday from 1 to 3. We spotlight filmmakers, or sometimes we just have like an open-ended, like, get to know one another. But on Wednesdays from 1 to 3 Eastern time, we're here chopping it up, building community, getting to know one another, and figuring out how we can do this together. So I had a thought that I wanted to share with you, with everyone actually. Anyone in here who knows me knows that it took it took me a long time, even though I had a hard drive full of things that I thought would be a good fit for the NFT space. As someone who came into it, with elevating the women in the NFT space room, because it was really important to me to help amplify marginalized voices, and then starting the NFT filmmaker squad, community building became like the number one thing that I was doing. But a lot of that was because I didn't know exactly how. I have a feature film that is fully packaged with what you would call A-list talent in Spain. Like if you watch Netflix shows, there they are. And the reason for that is because they're my friends and we all wanted to work together. So that was one of the projects. I was like, well, how can I use the NFT space for that? But the first thing I decided to do was we needed a case study. And so my Genesis project is dropping in 2 weeks from today. And it's a short form. And it took a long time. So I guess what I'm saying to the filmmakers in here, it took me a long time to decide. And I wanted to make sure that my voice was super clear when I dropped something on the blockchain. But all this time, I've been thinking about these other two projects that I have, including the feature film. And it wasn't until you rolled out yours that I thought, oh, wow, that's a model that really speaks to me. And that's a big reason why I was so excited to talk to you today, because I feel like you just helped me clarify my path. Like, in two ways. I also have another project called the Lorca Project that I started years ago and have been having trouble getting funding for, even though I have 10 of the biggest women in Spain, like incredible actresses, all committed to it. It's Lorca, and he's revered as and for me, just like one of the greatest playwrights that ever lived. But now, because of your model, I know now that I can possibly just, start to use what I have already to like the next two shoots. So I think what's going to happen is I'm going to mint the one piece that I've been using as like the one to show everyone, the case study. I'm going to mint that, and then hopefully we'll get enough money to go shoot literally the next episode of a 10-episode series. That's because of your project. So I just wanted to say I'm so inspired, and also really inspired by the fact that I actually believe that I have Spanish production companies waiting for me to bring American money so that we can use the tax credits in Spain for the feature film. That is awesome. But getting American money for a Spanish project has been a little challenging, but I don't think it's going to be so now, because I think what I'm going to do is draw from your model here, and I think I'll at least be able to get development money going on this. So I'm so grateful for you and the way you're building community and the way you're moving in this community. And I think the way you are now, your position in the community, that you're going to inspire a lot of people. A lot of us who have been here a long time, long being like 40 years NFT time, and a long time, and a lot of the new people who are onboarding are going to be able to use this template. So I just wanted to sort of like throw that down and just say thank you for being so incredible with the way you're moving through this space.
That's amazing. That's so exciting and means so much to me. And yeah, just keep me posted, obviously, as you go through that process. And like, I want to support and get the word out there, because I think that the more of us that can be doing this, just the better. It's, let's prove that this works, and that there is, I think to some of the talk about like the platform, and having a platform to release films and content like this that makes sense, that doesn't compress our stuff, and gives an audience a way to digest it. Like I've been asked that question before of like, well, what are you doing to make a platform? And I think that is the bigger picture goal. But I think for me, first, I'm like, I want to create a demand for it. I don't feel like there's a huge demand for film in the space right now, outside of this bubble that we've all fortunate enough to find each other in. So Jordan, like that's so exciting. And just the more of us that can do this confidently and succeed at it, the better. So yeah, that's great. I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, thank you. 100%. And you just said something that I've never articulated, but it's something I felt, and creating demand. So one of the things that Sophie used to say at the beginning of this, like back in June, she was like, we need a case study. we need a case study, and I was like, oh God, do I throw down my this or that? It just doesn't feel right. But now with having put together my Genesis piece, which is 3 minutes and 48 seconds, right? Because I was like, okay, it has to fit something that can fit the file size, but it has to be cinematic. It's got to be my voice, And then when it came to me, I was like, this is Jordan Bayne's voice, and this is going to mint on the blockchain as a Genesis piece. This is going to be an incredible, I think, I hope, as I say this is going to be an incredible moment, I think, for people to see something truly cinematic that tells a story from beginning to middle to end, that is a social impact. And I'm not going to lie, there's a trigger warning on the front of it, just like if you're going to go watch Euphoria, or if you're going to watch some things, because I was informed that it needed possibly a trigger warning because it's about intimate partner violence. But I do feel strongly that we're going to create meaningful dialogue around that, which is what's really important to me, taking things out of the shadows and bringing light to them so that people don't feel shame, people feel seen. And I think that, Julie, to your point, that we need to be able to create demand. So I'm like literally, 24/7 on this right now, to make sure that eyes get on this so people know that that we're here, that the filmmakers are here, and that and I honestly believe that we are the most organically made for NFTs. We've been streaming or projecting since film came. We projected on screens, and then television came into people's homes, and they watched it on screens. And then movie theaters, they were projected on screens, and streaming came with Netflix, and we're watching it on our screens. So for me, NFTs, for us to be utilizing minting on the blockchain, is absolutely makes, I feel like we're super native to NFTs. And there was my mic drop. Sophie, no one said anything.
I'm here. I'm here. We're all just
speechless.
admiring what you said. Like, it was a mic drop.
Yeah, absolutely.
I get super passionate, especially when I meet someone else who's super passionate. And when you're setting demand for filmmakers, that's just really a big part of the manifesto of the Film Squad, and why we've been showing up week after week to figure this out with each other. I want instead of sitting here getting super like hype, and I haven't had enough sleep to like kind of edit myself. I just wanted to say thanks to everybody who's here. Thanks to everyone who's come up and been a part of the conversation. If you want to ask Julie a question, please do. Jason, I saw your hand go up.
Yeah, but you kind of knocked that out of the park there, so I don't know how much I can really add to that. That was just all spot on. If anything I can add to that is now that, and it's just about Web3 being native to Web3. And this is what really kind of hooked me in, because I came into this as one of those skeptics, and I got sucked in by you awesome, wonderful, lovely people. And Web3, because the artists are now collectors, and because we are now directly in touch with each other, all the obstacles that we ever, what in legacy film, when you add agents and representation, I know there are people in the room that have representation, so I'm not making fun of it, but just when you add different levels of things that get between you and your audience, that creates ego. On some level, that creates ego. And here in Web3, now that we are all so directly connected with each other on the internet, mind you, I've spoken and met more people in the NFT world in the past year in real life than I ever did meeting like baseball card people or any of DVD people back in the day. So like I've connected with people in the NFT community in real life even more. And what this direct connection does is it reduces ego, and we all have to. That's why whenever me and Jordan, we've always joked about the first. The only reason why people keep claiming it is because we don't know what else is out there. And now that we're finally, as the calendar's turning over, finally discovering all these other little pockets of filmmakers that are doing what they're doing and have been waiting and planning and executing and getting ready for what's to come, I think is the great equalizer. And I'm here as a white guy to expand my perspective on the world to be a better filmmaker. And that's why when I'm blessed and honored to work on Jordan's piece, that I will sing to the high heavens because it's better than anything I've ever done. And it's amazing, and it's going to really elevate this for all of us because it's true. And sometimes if you're coming from the legacy world, it feels like it's not, because it's so antithetical to ego and Hollywood and all of that. But this piece is going to resonate with someone. Julie's stuff is already resonating with people, and people are attracted to it because all those other trappings of what it's meant to try to be a successful filmmaker with a sustainable career that we always talk about. All of those obstacles are removed, and we're now free to like be ourselves, create our work, and have an audience for it. So, Jordan pretty much said it all. I don't know if that added anything to the conversation, but I'm just really glad to be here and glad to discover all of this new work, because by knowing each other, by hyping each other up, that's going to shake the industry up more than Quentin Tarantino scanning in his script and selling it to a bunch of, collectors, So let's make our best work. Let's get cracking and let's kick the shit out of 2022, because in a couple of weeks when Jordan's thing goes down, and in a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of days when Julie's thing sells out, the shit's going to start to tilt. And we're about there. So don't give up if anyone is frustrated about not having sales. All right, I'll shut up now. Jordan, you fucking said it. If I added something to the conversation, thank you. But
I think you did, Jason.
Back to you.
I think you did.
Preach. I see Kamani's unmiked.
I did unmic for a second. I'm on my company account because for some reason it keeps kicking my my other account out the room.
I just want to let you know that so many people are getting rugged. Corinne apparently has been in the room practically the whole time, and I can't even see her. So it's some UI fuckery going on. It's
so wild. Like if I log in, if I switch to my personal account, it kicks me out the room. But I just want to second what Jason said, because Jason, you absolutely added to the conversation, man. Always great vibes, right? So yeah, the lack of ego in this space has been so tremendous and so freeing, and the people that you find yourself across from, it's a whole. It's weird because we're going to keep saying this as the year goes on, but it is the film renaissance. It really is. And we're going to see a huge power shift from the way it's been to the way it needs to be in terms of creative control and self-sovereignty and you as an artist. And each one of you deserves to be here. You deserve the success that you're about to enjoy. And I say this as a person, I minted my project in late May, haven't sold very much of it, right? So that's exactly what Jason was saying. The time is coming, the day is coming. Just keep your presence up. Fight through all the struggles. You deserve to exist, period. You deserve to be here. You deserve success. Thanks for listening. My name's Kamani Okira. Thank you.
Thank you, Kamani. I just want to tell everybody that while Kamani's piece dropped a long time ago in NFT years, the truth is that it's super visionary. And Kamani, your time is coming. And we're going to be focusing on that and talking about that and breaking that down in February, because I think people just needed to catch up with you, my friend. I want to take the next 10 minutes and, and sort of refocus back on what Julie's doing. I know there's some new people that came up on stage. If you want to ask Julie a question or something, raise your hand. But the first thing I want to do, Julie, is give you an opportunity, because there are some new people in here, to sort of give them sort of a brief idea of what the project's about, and whatever you want to say.
Okay, cool. Gonna go ahead and just like repin this again. Where are we at? Yeah, I'll keep it brief because I know there's a lot of people that have been in here since the beginning, and y'all are amazing. So my name's Julie Pacino. I'm a photographer, filmmaker. My most recent drop is called Keepers of the Inn. It's pinned right there. It's a series of 3,356 photos that I took while rehearsing my feature film called I Live Here Now, and it will shoot entirely at the Madonna Inn. The photos were taken at the Madonna Inn. The film is going to shoot at the Madonna Inn this year. By holding a piece, you'll be invited to be involved in the creative process of making this film. The funds from the drop will go towards fully financing the film, and will also go towards opening up a grants program to onboard more female filmmakers into the space, as well as other LGBTQIA members of the community who are underrepresented here in this space. So check out pinned tweet and the link keepersoftheinn.art, and all the info's there. And DM me if you have any questions.
I love that. I did want to dive deeper into these grants. Can you tell us how? Yes. Like what Landy mentioned, and we all know, if you're a woman, the painful statistic that only 5% of the sales in the NFT have gone to, I'm not even going to say to women, but basically 95% of them have probably been white men. So Julie, to have you creating something like this is important. It's ridiculously important. Do you want to speak on it?
Yeah, sure. So, I there's that statistic is mind-boggling, and as a woman who's made sales in this space, and is a part of that 5%, it's really important to me to work towards changing that number in a very real way. Like, I know it's a popular thing to talk about that number and complain about it, but actions obviously speak louder than words. So even so far, like I've made a point of I would say 90% of the NFTs that I have purchased have been from first time women who have never made a sale, and it just I'm just looking forward to doing that on a larger scale. And so with the drop of the funds that we're going to generate from the drop, definitely a portion of the initial sellout, and then the secondary sales is going just directly back into people that already have stuff listed that haven't sold, and just in a literal way just bumping those numbers directly up. But the grants are really, really fucking exciting. So we're still figuring out like the logistics of all of the grants, but the one that is 100% formed and crystallized and will be ready to go is the Rose Grant, and that's like kind of the first place prize. And so what that's going to be is it's going to open up a call for entries for women to submit a short film concept that the community will vote on and be able to select a winner of, and that winner will be invited to come to set while we're shooting the film at the Madonna Inn and make their short film at the Madonna Inn. And so that's the thing that we're the most excited about, because the Madonna Inn is incredibly selective and picky about what they let shoot at their place. Like, it was very hard. Like, they said no to me when I first asked, and I had to go through a couple different, I had to jump through hoops, and ultimately when they realized, what I wanted to do with this film, and the story I wanted to tell and how I wanted to make their brand look, they were all in, and they're a family run business. They're amazing and supportive and have just been incredible to collaborate with. But yeah, the Rose Grant will invite the winner to come to set and utilize my full production team and services. Their short will be financed through post-production, and will screen before the feature at the big premiere event that we're going to do for holders once the film is finished. So that I'm the most excited about that one, just because it's more than just like, hey, here's some money and like, cool, good luck. It's just like I love the idea of opening up my resources in a real way, and so for that grant, like that's as open as it can be. It's just like, come to my set while I have this access to this location, and we'll do it at the end of my production, and we'll just immediately go into production on this short film for whoever wins that grant. And so the other grants will look similar in terms of my production involvement and in terms of financing other shorts, but that one I'm just the most excited about, because it just personally, if I as a filmmaker, that's just such a cool opportunity. So yeah, that's where we're at with the grants. Like I said, we're still sort of figuring out and ironing out all the details, but we do have a large percentage of the portions that will be set aside, of the proceeds that will be set aside to onboarding more women in a real way, and not just throwing money at them, but really sort of being there to hold their hand and nurture, because it's just, this Web3 can just be so overwhelming and confusing when you're first getting started. And so I had a lot of really great shepherds, so I just want to be that for as many other people as possible.
I love that. And I think it's, I think it's really cool that you're inviting them to the location to create something there, and to use your team and your crew and to be a support like that. I also think that, like, in a real way, right? So one of the conversations that I had yesterday in a space with some other people who are doing social impact type of work, photographers and like some other really cool projects that I get to explain, but women. and the idea that instead of engagement farming on a tweet where it's not tangible, it's a bit like, uh, for me, I find it a bit like virtue signaling, but to actually do something. Again, I want to say that there are some people in this room that might not have the bags to do a macro like that, but every little action that we take for one another, micro or macro, where we can put the ETH down for one another, if we can, to educate people and say, no, it's not about, you necessarily supporting someone simply because she's a woman. No, she's actually a woman. She's really fucking talented, but you're just not looking at her because you're used to just hanging out and listening to your voice. And so I love it, Julie, that you're doing that. And I know that so many other people are looking for innovative ways to make sure that we amplify women and other underrepresented communities in this space. Before we wrap up, I want to say thank you to everyone who spent the last couple of hours with us, or even who spent the last 10 minutes with us, for giving us a part of your day. I want to say, before I give my incredible thanks to Julie, I do want to let you guys know that if you don't know me, I've been tasked with talking a little bit about myself for the next 2 weeks. So I'm dropping my Genesis piece 2 weeks from today. I'll be dropping a little teaser, a little 30-second teaser today, so you actually get to get a taste of that. So please have a keep an eye out for that. And if you can give me a little micro action, you have no idea how much you'll bring joy to me. And then I just want to just basically say, Julie, you're a motherfucking rock star. I love how you're creating community. I love what you're doing. I'm so grateful that you've come in here, not only into the space and really using your position in the space to build community, but also just the time you're giving all of us. So I'm grateful for these 2 hours with you. I cannot wait to see you sell out. I cannot wait to see how it all rolls out for you. And do you want to say anything before we close out this room to these guys?
Yeah, Jordan, thank you so much for saying all that. And you're a phenomenal host. The 2 hours just flew by, and truly, there's nowhere else I'd rather be, in no other way I'd rather be spending my time. This community has given me so much, and I just want to give it all back. So thank you, everyone. Yeah, please, just anyone, feel free to DM me. I'm here to help, to answer questions, or just give a thumbs up, or encourage you. Yeah, that's basically it. I guess I'll end this by just saying something that I often, and just focus on the work and trust that the rest will follow, because it will. And yeah, lots of love, and hope everyone has an amazing day. Jordan, thanks again. This was incredible.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's so, one of the things, like, to be able to see another woman moving powerfully in this space, especially in the film space, man, we've been looking for you. So I'm super happy. I want to say to everybody, if you don't know about our Discord, it's in my link tree, and that's where we're building community. Come introduce yourself, because as Julie said, we're here to support and to encourage. And anyway, y'all get out there, create your creations, and we'll see you next week, or we'll hear you next week, if not before. Have a beautiful day, and we'll catch you later. Ciao.
Bye. Thanks, Jordan.
Bye.